Hello everyone, namaste and welcome to the Yoga House. We're going to do 3 little hip openers. By hip openers in yoga we mean postures that help us to stretch the muscles that support around the pelvis. And so when these muscles are flexible, we have much more ease of mobility. It is always important, however, when you stretch to remain strong. So I'm going to talk you through how to do that. We're going to go into a few variations of on-syllabus postures. So we're going to work into an easy pigeon, what we call in the Yoga House an evil pigeon, and then into fire log. So 2 modified versions of Ekapada Rajkapotasana and then 1 modified version of Swastikasana. It is helpful to use a cork brick, particularly if you're quite stiff, and or a zafu, a cushioned raise, right? So it's always good to have a few props there. Or if you don't have any yoga props, cushions are fine. Also, when we're opening the hips, so usually this means lateral flexion, bringing the knees to the sides, the ankles are grounded into the floor, and so if you have knobbly ankles like me, it's always good to have a little bit of cushioning under you. So get a mat or 2 or a blanket underneath you. So let's begin. I'm going to show you everything from the side and from the front, just so you can have a clearer visual. I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to come into easy pigeon first. So the right knee is facing out to the right, and you're on the outside of the right calf. So you're not like this on the shin with your knee directly forward. You're on the outside of the calf, knee points out to the right. And then we're coming forwards just onto the forearms, palms are flat. So I'll let you set up into that, and meanwhile I'll show you from the side so you can see what's happening also from the side. So your back leg is then going to be straight behind you. I'll take the brick out of the way, and I'm going to use the brick if I'm feeling that I need a bit of support here. Often when we're releasing into the hip muscles, it's nice to have something to drop into if there's a lot of tension there. If you're already quite mobile though, I would say you don't need that brick underneath you, and then you're coming forwards into that forearm support. Now with easy pigeon, you don't necessarily want to walk yourself forwards. It's actually a better stretch for the hips. If you stay up, you work on straightening through the back. Toes are tucked under, meaning you're on your tippy toes. And then you're working into that stretch. I'm going to join you in front again. Working into that stretch, meaning you're giving yourself time. You're giving the muscles time to adjust. With daily practice, the muscles can get more absorbent. In many cases, the elasticity of the muscle is hindered by the stiffness of not stretching for longer periods of time, and it makes it very difficult for your muscles to absorb nice oxygenated nourishment, rich blood, if there's stiffness there. So this is a good posture to practice regularly. Breathing there as always. Strengthen now. A little bit of engagement in the glutes, a little bit of engagement in the belly and the pelvic floor. And then we lean over onto that right hip, and we're going to come into what we call evil pigeon in the Yoga House. So the right shin now lines up precisely parallel with the front of your mat. The right thigh lines up precisely parallel with the side of your mat. So effectively you are creating a 90-degree angle here at the back of this knee. You're creating a 90-degree angle here at this right ankle. So you're dorsiflexing the foot. And then we lift up. Now that we have created this more stark angle, it's difficult to drop so low. That's perfectly fine. The hips may have to rise a bit. Come up onto the fingertips. Straighten the arms, lift your chest. Back leg is still doing the same thing. So I'll come around again and show you from the side while you're holding this posture with a lovely smile on your face. So that back leg is grounded through the knee and tucked under toes. Keeping the breath deep there. If this right knee lifts, that's okay. It's not incorrect. If your body wants the knee to lift, let it lift. So breathing deeply there. Try and get that left hip down as far as the right hip. Good. And then we're going to sit onto that right hip. And we're going to bring this left leg over on top of the right leg for fire log or swastikasana. So the idea of the nickname being fire log is that you're stacking one shin on top of the other like there are two fire logs in the fire. Dorsiflex both feet. This fires up the flexors in the fronts of the shins, and it makes sure that the patella isn't kind of exposed and worried with no support. So you're flexing those muscles to keep the joints nice and strong and protected and safe, and that means that you can work on opening the hips. Option to stay here with the fingers beside the hips, lifting up tall, or if you feel you want to go further, you're walking your hands forwards. Now with this one we can just drop the head. Breathing there. Couple more breaths there. For some of you, if you're staying forwards, that's fine. For others, you might want to just stay upright here, as I said. Or if you feel that this is happening, you might want to walk your hands behind you and just gently encourage that hip to stretch. Hip opening is a long process, requires daily commitment. Please don't push your body further than where it's ready to go. You simply approach it in a different way. Little and often will help to aid that flexibility. And eventually you're coming to here, or as I said, here. And let's repeat all of that now on the other side to finish. So we're starting off with easy pigeon. Left knee facing out to the left. Coming forwards onto the forearm. I'll show you from the side. Again, if you need to, you can sit on a brick there or your zafu, so you have support. Something for your hip to drop into if you're feeling a little bit stiff. Otherwise, your left hip is in space. Breathing there. Coming forwards into your forearm position, working and straightening the back. I'll join you in the front again. Back knee is on the ground, toes tucked under, just to keep that back leg a little bit more active. Focus not necessarily in this posture on getting your head down or your arms straight, but more that your hips are sinking down. Your back knee is walking further back so that your pelvis is nice and low. And then you can enjoy that stretch. Keeping the breath nice and deep. Little details always important. The depth of your breath, the focus of the mind, gentle tone always in the core abdominal muscles. You can pause this video. You can hold the stretches for longer. You can repeat this again and again. Have the freedom to do what you will with this, because hip opening is such a good investment for the health of your body. And then we lean ourselves over onto that left hip and we set up for even pigeon. So the shin is parallel with the front of your mat. The thigh is parallel with the side of your mat. You have a 90-degree angle. So like the corner of a square at the back of this knee. And then we lift up and we feel a dramatic change. You can start to see why the first version was called easy pigeon. So this is going deeper into the structures of the hip socket. You're really stretching through those muscles, but remember, stay strong. So the abdominal muscles still gently toned, the glutes are gently toned. Press into the floor with the right knee, the right toes, the left shin, and the fingertips, the outside of the left shin, more along the calf. Or for some of us, it might mean that your left knee is lifted and you're just on the ankle, and then you'll thank me for suggesting the cushioning underneath, if that's you. Deepening the breath there, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine. Yes, we are targeting the hips to increase our flexibility, but we don't forget about the rest of the body. So no hunching, no collapse. Stay steady with your breath, focus on your rhythm, staying regulated. Keep your mind wholly and utterly present, always, for your practice. And then we sit back down onto that hip. We're still keeping that 90-degree angle. And then we're bringing the right leg on top. Shin on top of shin. Dorsiflexion through the ankles. So aerial view down on your feet, you should be able to hopefully pull the toes towards each other, pull the heels away from each other so that the Achilles tendons are stretching. This action, this dorsiflexion, is super important for the protection of your knees as you stretch your hips. And so if you're trying to open your hips, if there's a lot of tightness there, when you think of the large joint of the hip compared to the small joint of the knee, that will be sort of bullied. That will go down the line and the knee will take all of the pressure. So we got to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the knees and deepen the hip stretch. So we're targeting the correct place. Option 2, if you're quite stiff, take your hands back. Maybe your knee is lifted. Your left sit bone's taking all of the weight, so try to equalize that. Or if your legs are a little closer together, keep the hands beside you. Or if you're quite mobile already, working on coming forwards, dropping the head for this one. Whichever version you've chosen, aim to go further, not by forcing yourself, just by staying longer and letting gravity do its thing. As your body gets warmer, then you can maybe go deeper with it. If you're here, your deepening of the practice is to get taller through the trunk, get less space between the shins. If you're here, same thing. Gently encouraging that right knee down. Don't press it from the outside. Engage your bum, pull it down from the inside. Whichever version you've chosen, let's hold for 5 more breaths here. I'll breathe with you nice and loud so you can hear. And coming back up to a seated position. I hope that helps you in your quest for opening your hips and increasing flexibility there. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Namaste.